For decades, we thought we knew about Mars, a dead planet, a place where water vanished billions of years ago, leaving behind nothing but rust and silence. NASA's rovers roamed across the red deserts and dry riverbeds, and every photo told the same story this world once lived. But now it's gone cold. Then, in 2021, another voice entered the conversation. China launched its first Mars mission, Tianwen-1. The name meant questions to heaven fitting, because it arrived with plenty. The mission carried a small rover named Zhurong, after the Chinese god of fire. It landed in a region called Utopia Planitia, a massive plain that, billions of years ago, might have been covered by an ancient ocean. Zhurong began its mission quietly. It took photos, measured wind, checked the soil, and scanned the ground. But after a few months, it found something strange. Across the dunes, the rover saw patterns of cracks, lined with bright material that didn't match the red dust around it. At first, scientists thought it was just a mineral buildup. But when data came back, those bright lines turned out to be salts, the kind that only form when water interacts with the surface. That was the first surprise. The second was the age. These dunes weren't ancient. They formed less than 400,000 years ago, incredibly recent by Martian standards. That meant water activity had happened long after we thought Mars had dried up. And here's what makes that even wilder. Mars today is far below freezing. At night, temperatures can drop to 100 degrees Celsius, but salts can change everything. They lower the freezing point of water, letting brine liquid exist even in extreme cold. So while pure water would freeze instantly, salty water could stay liquid just long enough to seep through the sand, then evaporate and leave those cracks behind. In short, Mars might still be wet, not with rivers or oceans, but with brief, hidden traces of briny water that appear and disappear like breath on glass. NASA never caught this because its rovers landed in different zones, dry ancient basins or crater floors. Zhurong landed in the middle of a potential frost zone. Its instruments were tuned differently, and it saw what no one else had seen. For decades, Mars was painted as static, a dead rock frozen in time. But this discovery hinted that it's still changing. The planet might have its own tiny weather cycles, where frost forms at night and melts by sunrise. It might breathe in its own quiet way. That single find made scientists rethink everything about the planet's habitability. If Mars can hold even short-lived water, there's a chance that microscopic life could survive there, bacteria, spores, or something that adapted to its brutal climate. On Earth, we've found microbes living inside salt crystals in deserts and under ice sheets. If life can handle Antarctica, it might handle Mars. But Zhurong's mission didn't stop there. While it explored the surface, Tianwen-1's orbiter scanned the planet from above. It carried powerful radar systems, capable of peering beneath the ground. One of its most significant observations came from the South Polar region, the same place where the European Mars Express spacecraft had earlier detected something strange, reflections that looked like liquid water beneath the ice cap. That old finding was controversial. Some scientists said it was just dry ice or minerals reflecting the signal. But the Chinese orbiter found similar radar patterns, backing the idea that liquid brine might still exist below the polar ice, not a vast ocean, but pockets of salty water trapped deep under the frozen crust. If that's true, Mars isn't completely dead. Somewhere down there, liquid lakes might have survived for millions of years. On Earth, places like that sealed under ice are full of microbial life. While most eyes were on NASA's Perseverance and its helicopter, China was quietly gathering data. Western media barely covered it. But inside the science world, It was a big deal. It showed that when different nations study the same planet, they can find entirely different things. China's next goal is bold. Xi'an went through a mission to bring Mars samples back to Earth before 2031, maybe even before NASA. And those samples might hold more than dust. They could carry traces of organic matter, faint fingerprints of life itself. Think about that. The first grains of Martian soil touched by human hands might come from China. But this isn't about rivalry. It's about perspective. For years, we've seen Mars as a planet that died too early. Now, new missions are showing something else. Mars isn't dead. It's quiet. It's hiding its last whispers of climate, of memory. When you look at those dunes and see the fine salt lines, you're seeing time itself, the planet's last breath of moisture. Zhurong may have gone silent in 2022, buried under dust, but the data it left behind still echoes. It changed how we see Mars. Reminded us that exploration doesn't belong to one flag, it belongs to anyone willing to listen. Maybe Mars didn't hide anything at all. Maybe we just weren't close enough to hear. This is Stardust Stories, and sometimes even a silent planet has something left to say.